important for truck drivers?
Yes, I have had hundreds of liters of that over the years. It helped during the nights when we drove long nights, and sometimes, especially after the change, but also during communism in Romania, it was dangerous to sleep at some places because of the criminals. So we often had to drive through the nights, and I don't know how much it really helps, but we believe that it helps, so we kept drinking coffee. I would have been very difficult to do these trips without. My name is Esko. I am a truck driver. I used to work for my father's business. Then I used to also drive trucks internationally for missions, and I used to smuggle Bibles into Eastern Europe, to places like Romania and Czechoslovakia. My first trip when I was smuggling Bibles was with my father. This must have been back in 1979, 1980, somewhere around there, when my father took me to this particular country. And while there, and we had delivered the scripture, he then said to me that he brought me there to show me what he's doing. And then he said that never start to do this because of me, but ask God if he has prepared something for you in these countries. So that's how I got involved. I think I prayed about it a little bit. I had difficulties on that very trip. I was arrested, and it was not an easy trip. But then it was actually on my second trip that where I really felt that the Lord gave this ministry for me to do. When I was visiting a Christian family in one of these countries, and with my father, and there was a young boy by the name Peter, and him and I began to talk, and I remember asking him that, Peter, what is it that you want to do when you grow up? And he said to me that I would like to become a servant of the Lord. And that really touched me, and I asked him that, what is your father doing? And he said that my father is not doing much now. He's in prison for his faith. He got a 4-year sentence. Up until that point, I had tried to follow the Lord with one foot and in the world with the other. And I realized that you cannot go that way. You have to either be with Jesus or in the world. Then the second thing that I realized through Peter's example was that if Peter is so serious about following Jesus and wants to become the servant of the Lord, knowing that his own father is in prison for that Lord, then I must do something in order to help. And I think it was Peter's example. We were the same age, 15 years of age, and that really had a big impact on my life. Well, my first trip to Romania, we loaded the truck here in Finland. We had a lot of house elements, and then I took a ferry to Sweden, where at this particular potato farm, the Bibles were loaded into the secret compartments. I don't remember exactly, but I think it was about 10 tons. Then I took another ferry to Poland, through Poland, Czechoslovakia, down to Hungary, and then to the Romanian border. And it was a long line, I don't know, 14, 16 hours at the border. And I remember when I was coming very close to that place where they do the inspection, there were just few trucks ahead of me. After sitting there for a day and waiting, an officer walked by, and he came to my truck and stopped by, and he was showing me his thumb. He had hit with a hammer on his thumb, and it was bleeding, and it was really had pus on it, and it was really bad looking. And so I then said to him that I can help him a little bit, and I gave him disinfection stuff and put a bandage on it. And he thanked me, and he went away. And then it was my turn to come to this customs inspection. And the soldiers immediately climbed on top of the truck, and they began to pounce on the load and feel it. And when this officer that I had helped saw them, he immediately commanded them to come down. And these men were literally jumping on top of the load of Bibles. There was just a piece of wood in between. And he ordered them all to come down. And that was a very special moment. And then eventually we got through. I think it wasn't that I was so concerned about this man's finger. Maybe it was just a way of you're doing something because of this long waiting, and it's easier to do something when you are waiting. Because at that time at the Romanian border, we knew it that either tonight when the sun sets, we get through with our load, or we will be in prison. The options were very few. So it's an interesting moment when you're waiting for that. And then on the other hand, I think maybe God had allowed that to happen, that I could help this man, even though my motivation might not have been there, but I was able to help him. And then in turn, he felt some kind of sympathy toward me when my truck was inspected and we got through. So that was a special moment that I will never forget. I think sometimes this question went through your mind that will I ever see this again? Will I come back?